Good morning, everyone. It is 11 o'clock on the East Coast, February 29th. Happy Leap Year Day. Is that a thing? February 29th. If we haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Jamie. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator here in upstate New York. And I get the immense pleasure of sharing all things paper crafting with you each week, each day. And I do this live every Wednesday, 11 o'clock on the East Coast. And what I like to do each week is just kind of like focus on a very specific product. It could be a bundle, it could be paper, it could be a tool, whatever. And then I show many different ways to use it all week long. And one of the ways is here in YouTube, on YouTube. So as you're coming in, give me a hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Yeah, I'm really excited. I was going to say that it's a really dreary, rainy day here in upstate New York. So I hope wherever you are, you're having better weather than I am. Good morning, Carolyn. Oh, it's early for you. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Amy. Hello, everyone. Oh, it's early for you too. All my West Coast ladies are showing up. Okay, so the product I'm featuring this week is the hold on. I forgot to do a little switcheroo. There we go. Thoughtful Expressions Bundle. Why am I getting such glares? How do I block the glare? Whatever. It's glary. Hello, Nancy. Shanda's here. Cynthia, Maureen. Oh. Okay, so the thoughtful expressions. Let's just be real. Let's have a moment of real. So I have to say, I opened this on Monday to create for this week, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I can really do this. This isn't necessarily like my go-to style. It's very artsy, very artsy is the best way I can describe it. And that's usually not how I stamp. I'm very like what's the word? Words. Like realistic. Like I don't really do artsy that often. So I thought, okay, it's a make it work moment, Jamie. I always am up for a challenge for the most part. So I brought it out and I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this work for me. It is part of a bigger suite. So if you're curious where you can find it, it is on page 61 of the mini catalog. It is part of the Poetic Expression Suite collection, which includes the designer paper, the stamp, the dies, and the champagne iridescent dots, which I did not use, I just realized at all. Hello, Mary, Judy. Hello, everyone. Linda. Sunny Southern California. Judy, send it this way. Yesterday was gorgeous. Today is like dreary and rainy and just wretched. So you can see it's kind of formal. If I don't know a better way to kind of describe it, except that it's kind of formal. Like if you look at this paper, it's pretty, but it's kind of on the formal, serious side. That's just not really kind of me. And it carries over on page 62. You can see other cards and the stamp set up close. So I was like, challenge accepted. The dies are gorgeous. And I wish I could show you them in a better form. But alas, this is how I have my dies. So if you are like me and you love layering and just labels and dies that can be used for just about like anything, look at these dies. They're gorgeous. So if maybe the stamp set isn't necessarily your jam, I would encourage you just to get the dies. These are amazing. Then we have this kind of, I don't know what you would call this, scallop. So you can layer them. You can use them individually. There's two other sides of this that I haven't used. They're still in the container. And then we have some images that will cut out the stamped images, like the hummingbird and the flower. We're going to use that today. And then some standalone leaves. So the dies are amazing. I love the stamp set. At first, I was hesitant, but the more I got into it and the more I started using it, I was like, oh, this is actually really fun. So I'm glad I didn't give up. And listen, if the stamp set isn't your jam, you can go ahead, and the dies are definitely worth it. I love these labels. I am a sucker for a good label. Of course, I can't pick them up. So that's the bundle. You will save the 10% when you buy it. Of course, you can get the whole shebang with the paper, the embellishments, the dies, the stamps, the whole thing in the suite. You can always do that as well. So this is today's card. And then yesterday, so I had this idea to kind of create this negative space highlighting one of the patterns in the paper. And I cut it out, and then I cut out two of the labels that were like one after another sizes. So I ran that through together to create this kind of frame. And then I propped it up on mini dimensionals, and then I had this card, which, by the way, can we just say two things? One, if I adhered the music notes upside down, I'm sorry. I sat here for a good while holding that embossed piece of cardstock, and I was like, does it go this way? Does it go this way? I kept flipping it around. I don't know how to read music, so if it is upside down, I am so sorry. I hope you aren't offended. But then when I was done with this card, I was left, oh, I don't have it. I was left with this 3x3 square that I had cut this out of. And I thought, wait a minute, that's kind of fun also. Let's see if I can use that and kind of still use the same general layout. And I made this card, which I think is equally fun, if not even more fun. So kind of 2 for 1 yesterday. I first made this one, and then I had this negative, and I thought, I'm not throwing that away. I'm going to make that into another card. So those were yesterday's cards. And I don't know if you're like me, but unfortunately, I find myself making more and more sympathy cards. And so this is just a really tactful sympathy card. It can be hard because you want to be respectful. You want to be sensitive, but you also want to make a nice card. So I think this general design is sweet and not too flashy or colorful. And if you think the music notes are too much, you could certainly even do a different embossing folder that's not so musical. So anyways, those were yesterday's cards. Tomorrow is this one. It is what it is. I don't know. It's not necessarily my favorite, but it's simple. And listen, when you are in a pinch, when I'm in a pinch, my go-to is always going to the designer series paper. So this general layout can pretty much work with any paper. It's just 2 patterns, a sentiment, and some solid cardstock. So really adaptable layout. And then Fridays, I use that really amazing, awesome hummingbird image, and I made this. And to be completely honest with you, I was like, I know hummingbirds have like a red neck, but I don't really know how they're colored. So I Googled it, and I'll share the image with you on Friday that I took my inspiration for coloring this hummingbird. But that was like really fun to just color because the image is kind of artistic. I just kind of like, not scribbled, but like threw the color on. You didn't have to overthink it. So that's Friday's card. So I was really pleased because I brought in the patterns that I liked the most. This one doesn't even use that pattern paper. It just uses brights. It uses your melon mambo, your shaded spruce, your granny apple green, and then bubble bath is just such a favorite of mine. And then simple, like go to use your pattern paper. So I hope you find inspiration. Those will all be on my blog this week. So let's dive into today's card. Not keep you waiting a moment longer. And I am going to switch something as I like to do for my YouTube lives. I like my YouTube lives because let's put it this way. I don't always do it, but I can switch out and switch up things and try something different. And then I can decide whether I like it more or not. And sometimes I don't always necessarily like it more, but I like being able to try. How do we watch you on Friday? So you mean like the hummingbird card? Hold on. Without fail, my nose is fine. And then I go and do a live, and my nose is like, now's a great time to start running, like without fail. So if you're asking about the hummingbird card, it will be on my blog, which will have more pictures and a general written description of how to put the card together. I will be making the card not like this, but in a quick video form as a reel on Instagram, probably Saturday. So you can watch me kind of speed make it in a video on Saturday, or you can check out my blog on Friday, which will have general written instructions. If you don't know where to go for either of those things, if you head to jamieb.com, there's a link to my blog there. And I believe it's either at the top or the bottom, but I believe it's the top. There's little icons for all my social media links, and you can click on the one for Instagram. So jamieb.com. You just have to spell my first name right. JAIMIEB. M-I-E. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I forever spell my name. You color that bird spot on. Twins with the one who hangs out on my patio. Oh, I really didn't know. Like, I knew they had a reddish neck, but I didn't realize they had really bright green feathers with like a little bit of brown on them. So I brought in a little bit of shaded spruce just to give some extra dark coloring to it, granny apple green, and then a hint of crumb cake. Actually, I kind of put on his belly a little bit. So I wasn't sure. When in doubt, Google. That's what I did. I'm like, I don't know how to color a hummingbird. And sometimes I want to just go like completely out of the box and make a purple hummingbird, but sometimes I wanted to be a little bit more real. So, okie dokie. This is our thick basic white cardstock. It is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5. Ooh, how did I get dimensional backings in there? Scored at 5.5. Okay, then I took a pattern of that Poetic Expressions Designer Series paper. Rolls off the tongue. And this is 3 1/4. 3 1/4 by 5.5. So it's the entire height of the card, 3 1/2 wide. And then I'm matting it on a piece of bubble bath cardstock, which is just 1/8 wider. So it's 3 3/8 by 5.5. Oh, I didn't get my adhesive out. Silly Jamie. Classic Jamie. So both of them are the height of the card. Hold on. I got to move this because I feel like no, hold on. Wrong way. I need to go that way. I feel like I'm a little off screen. So designer paper is 3 1/4 wide. Bubble bath is 3 3/8. They are both 5.5 high. And I'm going to put that smack dab center. Oh, okay. I'm like, did I put the pattern paper upside down? I don't know if it's directional, but I think it's supposed to go like this. Now, one of the things I'm going to switch out, actually, it's the only thing I'm going to switch out, and you can decide if you are going to like it or not. It's very subtle. You can barely see it, and this is why I'm going to swap it out. There's a piece of vellum back here that I cut out with, nope, wait, nope. This one. It's the one that's like 2 3/4. And I just wanted to kind of ground those stamped images a little bit. And I went with vellum. If I'm holding it, I can kind of see it, but I do think it gets lost. Ready? So I'm going to bring in basic black. Going to bring in basic black. I have black in my sentiment. I have stamped my images in black. So we're going to try something. So instead of vellum, I cut it out. And actually, this shows it off really beautiful. You can leave it like that, or you can have kind of the top, the tippy top pointing up, whichever way you want it to go. So we're going to go with black. And then we're going to do some stamping. So, oh, don't fall. We're going to stamp in Memento Black. Oh, by the way, the inspiration for this card, let's just give inspiration. Let's give credit where credit is due. I don't know why an embellishment backing just got stuck on there, but it did. Hold on before I stick my thumb in that, because that would happen. Inspiration for the card came straight from Stampin' Up. Thank you, Stampin' Up. This card right here. And I really like how they did it square. Actually, really like how they did it square. But I figured I would adapt it to a full-size card. So thank you, Stampin' Up, for the inspiration. That's where it came from. Then I'm going to stamp the other floral image. Well, there's a couple. The longer floral image, the other one, twice in Memento Black. And while I have that out and open, let's attempt to stamp my sentiment straight. I'm not sure how straight this is. Hold on. I think I'm a little low. Okay, we're going to try that. And if I need to redo it, I'll do it again. Hello, Dawn. So glad you're working from home today, too. Okay, ready? I didn't test it. So if this is off, I'm just going to have to restamp it. Ooh, that's pretty good. Ha! I love when it works. It doesn't always work. Okie dokie, we're going to color in. Now, come on, don't be silly. I'm primarily going to color the flowers in excuse me, in Bubble Bath, but I'm going to bring in some fresh freesia just to get a little bit of contrast in maybe like the darker spots of the flower. And, you know, we had Stamp Camp this past weekend, which was so fun. And, you know, I do a card demonstration, you know, make and takes, and then Allison Okamitsu does. And it's funny because I color differently than she does. And so this is how I color. But honestly, if you color differently, there's nothing wrong with that. It's really like personal preference. So I like to come in with the light first, and then I come in with the dark. She does the opposite. She starts with the dark and then brings in the light. Sometimes I do it her ways, but I find myself more times than not starting with the light and then adding the dark. So those are both Bubble Bath. I'm going to come in with fresh freesia, which is always a tongue twister. I just realized something. And I'm going to just add a little bit of extra contrast kind of at the center of the flowers. And I just realized I didn't do my other flowers. And then if I wanted, I could even bring in the dark fresh freesia and really add just a little bit of extra contrast. These would be what we would consider color buddies. And I talked about these a couple of weeks ago. They're colors that just look really great together. It's like they're color buddies. Like they really were almost created to work together, not as individual colors, but you can use them together. Other color buddies would be like Pretty Peacock, Lost Lagoon look great together. Let's pull out the yellow. Lemon Lolly, Daffodil Delight look great together. I like to do Petal Pink with Calypso Coral. I love to put those two together. So colors that just look really complementary to one another. You color the way I do, Julie. I'm glad I'm not the only one. So these are what we consider. Is this the dark? It is the dark. Jamie Babarsi. That's not what as soon as I put it on, I'm like, that looks too dark. I mean, I am going to add a little contrast, but I wasn't quite ready. So color buddies, they're a great thing that Stampin' Up has created for us to kind of also take the guesswork out of it. And that's what I love. Thank you, Stampin' Up, because colors are just not my strong suit. To be honest with you, I hate picking out like paint colors for my walls. Oh, I hate it because I never I have a vision in my head. And then when I go to buy the paint, I just freak out and buy something else. True story. One time I was painting my kitchen, or like we had just moved into the house, I should say. Okay, hold on. Before I continue with my story, the leaves are going to be Lemon Lime Twist and Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to use them together. So when we first moved into the house, we needed to paint the kitchen, and I just told you I hate picking out colors, right? So, you know, a normal person, quote unquote, would buy like a paint sample, maybe a few, or at least a color swatch, something to get an idea of maybe some different colors to choose from and to see which one they like, right? Normal people. Well, not yours truly. I literally went to the paint store, went up to a color swatch and was like, yep, I like this one. And just came home and put it on my walls, my kitchen walls, which by the way, I did not end up liking the color, and it stayed on my walls for a long time. And I learned the lesson. Don't ever do that again. Really put the time to find colors that work. So all that to say is I am very grateful that Stampin' Up has the smarts to put color buddies together for us, because for me, I need it. So the leaves closest to the flower I did in the Lemon Lime Twist, and then the ones that are kind of coming out I'm doing in Granny Apple Green, although I think I might add just a little bit of Granny Apple Green at the very bottom of this to create a little extra contrast. I would say Lemon Lime Twist and Granny Apple Green are also color buddies. They just look really great together. And then this is the dark, just not overthinking it, throwing on color. I might put some on these too because the light and dark lemon lime twist didn't contrast a lot, I should say, not a total, a lot. Okay, Jamie, stop messing with it. It's fine. Walk away from the blends. Put the blends down. Do I need to do it? Okay, so ahead of time, I use those 2-leaf dies that are kind of standalone, and I cut out a whole bunch of sprigs and leaves from Granny Apple Green and Lemon Lime Twist. So I already did that ahead of time, and I just need to cut out these doodads. So I have that one. There it is. Whoo! I had a moment of where to go. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to cut these out, and then I got to cut out my sentiment. So I'm going to do them off screen just because it's a pain in the neck to move my machine. But bear with me. You're going to see the corner of my head. Okay, line them up. Okay, so we are left with that. So pretty. And that. And I just need to do one more to get that second one out. I just had a moment of like, there's no pressure whatsoever. Die cutting live. No pressure. What could go wrong? Nothing's going to go wrong. Okay, so that's what you're left with. Now, you're going to see I stamped my sentiment on the bottom. And this is, again, just personal preference. This is what I like to do. I could cut out, where's my card? Whatever it measures. It's exactly a half an inch. So a half an inch high, and then stamp and hope I get it centered and straight. But I have made that mistake too many times. And so what I prefer to do now is just stamp on a piece of paper and cut out around it. Again, personal preference. I got to trim it a little bit. It's a little. I'm still going to make it a half an inch. But for me, that's just so much easier than stamping on a thin little piece and then going from there. Okay, so now we're going to build, and I'm trying to remember how I built. I remember how I did this. I started with this guy. Now, if you were at Stamp Camp this week, you will appreciate the fact that I am completely flat out of regular size dimensionals. And I know it's first world problems, but let me tell you, making 9 cards at my event, all my cards on Monday for this week, all my cards on Instagram, the Reels, with only mini dimensionals, the struggle has been very real. And I have an order ready to go in tomorrow, and I think I bought 10 packs of regular dimensionals because I never want to run out again. The minis are great, and they have their purpose, and they're great for tiny little things. But when you're adhering down like a bigger image and you only have mini dimensionals, it gets kind of old after a while. Okie dokie. So I'm going to adhere down this, and I'm going to build everything off. I'm going to build everything off of it. So you notice I only put the dimensionals kind of in the middle because I want to allow room for me squeezing these other things kind of in. You could also do this on the card. Actually, it would probably be smarter to do it on the card so you get an idea of kind of space. So that one has a lot of it showing. This one I'm going to kind of tuck a little bit. There is a dimensional there. Don't tell anyone I just chopped that off. It's that side that's okay. But now I just basically cut off all the glue part. There we go. Much better. No, I guess I just had it. Why are you so in the way? This is why dimensionals can get in the way. That whole thing I ended up cutting down to just this itty bitty bit. There we go. Now you're, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to put our little doodads. Try and curl them with the heat of my finger a little bit. Now, I know it's going to get squished in the mail. Call me crazy, but I'd like to pretend that they're going to stay nice and fluffy and a little bit of 3D and look nice. Now, they're not. They're going to get squished and it'll be okay. I can talk myself through this. It'll be just fine. But I'm going to fluff them anyways because maybe, just maybe, they won't get squished. You could also use glue dots if that's your go-to for little doodads like this. Liquid glue is my go-to. You little stinker. There's a doodad in there. It's getting caught on something, so I'm just going to trim it smaller so it doesn't have to go in so far. Sure, we're going to call that good enough. Now this one's going to get covered a lot by the sentiment, but I'm still going to throw it in because you will see it a little bit. But I think I cut way too many of those leaves. Better to have too many than too little, I suppose. Okay, so there's, oh, we forgot to do, well, I guess it's going on the back. And by we, I mean me, forgot to do the twine. I wanted the twine under the flower and not under the label. Okay, we're gonna do something different. I totally forgot. Like, woo, forgot. Okay, it's all good. It's a make it work moment. I think what I'm going to do instead is just wind the ribbon under the twine underneath the ribbon. Well, let's play with it. What it looks like behind the black label. I use this stuff all the time. If you've watched anything of mine for a hot second, I use it constantly. This is the elegant, simply elegant trim. It comes in gold. That's how much I have left of gold. That's how much I use it. I use the gold one all the time for Christmas cards. Well, sorry, I'm just playing to see if I even like this because there's no sense in trying to make it work if it's not gonna. I don't hate it. Oh, I would have liked it better under the flowers. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing. So this is my top, right? That little hunch there is my top. So I'm gonna put just some adhesive on the back. Now this twine has a mind of its own. You cannot tell this thing what to do if you tried. So you're better off working with it and not against it. And kind of letting it do what it naturally wants to do while still kind of giving it a little bit of direction. Now, the reason why I use just strips of adhesive on the back is if at the end I decide I don't like how it's winding and how it looks, I can literally pull it off. I can literally pull it off and just start over. I'm not committed. It's not like I'm using tear and tape or something more permanent. So if you're like me and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to like it, I kind of just want to fiddle with it a little bit, just put some strips of adhesive on the back. And then, so I do that and then I kind of place it and then I'm like, oh, I do not like how that looks. Hold on. I want one more this way. And I want one more that way. Okay, that's better. Kind of. Why are you being silly? Hold on. This guy here is desperately needs a haircut. That'll help a little bit. Stay. Okay, that's not terrible. It's not my favorite, but it's okay. It'll be fine. We're going to call that good enough. I could sit here all day and fiddle, and then you probably would stop watching because you'd be like, Jamie, it's good enough. Walk away from the twine. But note to self, next time, put it underneath. So in my original card, I liked it under the vellum because you can kind of see it poking through a little bit through the vellum. But with the basic black, there's no seeing it. So I wanted to do it under the flower. But then my mind decided otherwise. My brain. Okay, this is the other thing about the minis is that they take a little while to take all the backings off. Are they all off? Yes. Okay, so where is that top? This was my top, right? Yeah, that's my top. That one's too big. I don't want you. Oh, sugar plums. Now I messed with it, and now it's all messed with. Okay, Jamie, just stick the thing down. No, I can't. That doesn't look right. Step away from the twine. Make sure all the little bits are out. Okay, we're committing. It is what it is. Guys, it's going to be great. It's awesome. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, you know what? It's amazing. It looks great. So now we're going to do a big chunky bow with the bubble bath. This is in the annual catalog. It comes with bubble bath, Azure Afternoon, and Lemon Lolly. It's a trio of, I think it's 3/8 of an inch sheer ribbon combo pack. No, combo ribbon. Ooh, I think that's actually the name. If that's actually the name, I'm really impressed with myself because I'm usually just like, it's a pack of paper, a pack of ribbon. So I'm kind of a ribbon snob, and this is why I usually do fork bows because I like my bows to just like I like my twine to look a specific way. So I kind of like my bows, and I think I'm odd man because it's not supposed to look like this. But if I'm doing a bow underneath that's kind of hidden, I like the legs. That's what I call these, to go opposite direction. So one's down and one's up. That's just personal preference specifically when I'm hiding ribbon under a sentiment or under an image. So I want to get an idea of size. Is that way too? Oh, I love how big and chunky that is. I am such a fan of big chunky bows. I love big chunky bows. Hello, my name is Jamie. Now, I would normally glue down with liquid glue, and let it sit a hot second. But for the sake of time and all the things, I'm going to just use a glue dot. Now, I will say my knot is not too tight. And what I like to do sometimes too is just take a block and squish it so it's as flat as I can get it so it doesn't pucker my card too much. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Glue dot, where are you? Come out, wherever you are. There you are. Okay, so pick up a glue dot, and we're going to put it right, kind of nestle it right under left-hand corner. Let's give this well, if I start messing with it, it's going to be like the Valentine's Day heart where you cut a little bit off this side and then you cut a little bit off this side and then a little bit off that. And before you know it, you're left with a heart that's itty bitty. I want to cut it a little bit. Just a little. I know. That was so little, Jamie. Was it even worth it? And yes, the answer is yes. Okay, let's do our sentiment. I'm going to snip the ends in a banner. What I like to do is go up the middle and then notch it on one side, flip it over, and then notch it on the other side. That's not even. I like more shallow banners, if you haven't been able to tell by now. And then I flip it over to the other side, come up the middle, come at it from an angle, flip it over, come at it from the other angle. That one's longer, fix it until you get it more or less right. Okay, this is tricky situation. We need to get this over that with only dimensionals that are touching our flower. We need to strategically place dimensionals just on that bigger of the flowers, like the one that we first put down, because otherwise it's going to lay all sorts of uneven if we're putting dimensionals along the whole sentiment. So just on the flower, and then I'm going to line up my card so it's straight. So my eyes are working for me, and oh, of course, then I hit it, but our eyes are working for me and not against me. And then I'm going to just catch those dimensionals. And there Voila. Oh, you know what? I didn't get out my doodads. So I don't know how. These are the only rhinestones I have, and they're all the big ones. One of these had a couple small ones, I think, or maybe not. Oh, a couple of this one had mediums. So guys, I desperately need to stock up on rhinestones because I use these a lot. But I wanted to go rhinestones to pick up the silver that is in the bubble bath ribbon, as well as the silver that's in the twine. So that's why I went rhinestones. I would normally use the tiny ones, but we're out. So we're just going to use the regular ones. And I mean the medium. So this is a medium. And then this is a medium. And then we're going to use a large, which you can see are my least used rhinestones. Okie dokie. And there we have it. Now for the inside, we have these leaves. We might as well just adhere some of them on. The only thing is I'm not going to want to close it right away because it's going to take a little bit for them to dry, and I don't want it to dry shut. That would very much defeat the purpose if we dry or if it glued. Hold on. Do I want to put it that way? Yes, that's how I want to put it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to put it this way or this way, but we're good. So this one here in particular, the glue is going to be a little tacky. So we're not going to close that one yet. We're going to let it dry and then I'll close it. Okay. So, oops, you'll have to let me know. What do you think? Do we like the vellum label or do we like the basic black label? What do we think? Oops. It's garbage. You'll have to let me know. I think it pops more on the black, but the vellum is definitely like a softer look for sure. But same concept, just looks a little different. Okay, I'm going to stand this one up off camera so that it dries, the leaves dry. So we have that card, and then we have the fun hummingbird. We have a card that uses patterned paper and then creating negative and positive space and kind of showing off. So you'll have to let me know which card is your favorite and then which one, if you like the black label or the vellum label. The black, yeah. The vellum is more formal. It is definitely a much softer look. The black is definitely more like noticeable. It is definitely a softer look. Yep, I agree with everything you guys are saying, and then some. So that you have the Thoughtful Expressions bundle. It is available in the mini catalog right now. You can find inspiration for the cards, a written description on my blog. You can go ahead and order it if you so very wish. Let me drop my link again. jamieb.com. You can shop. You can find my social media links. You can get a hold of me, email me. My starter kit link is up there. All my things. It's my catch-all link. So there you have it, guys. Thoughtful Expressions. I had a lot of fun using it this week. It stretched my creativity. I really had fun adapting it, making it work for me and my style. So I hope you enjoyed today's card. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And I'll be back next week, same time, same place. And I hope to see you then. Have a good rest of your week. Happy stamping.